Hi, I am Álvaro Mella, and today I'll present my final project to get my hospitality services and tourism diploma in Tamwood careers. My theme is leadership, a vital skill for customer service providers. So to start to introduce you to my theme, here we have an abstract. Uh, I wanna ask you, what is the purpose of companies from the service industry? It's pretty easy to solve the client needs. So to be a successful business, it's very important that all the organization members in all levels are going to the same goal. How can you reach that unity through leadership? I'll divide my presentation in three parts, three main topics that I want to show you today. My research, I think, is longer than I will show you today. This is just the surface because we don't have enough time to show you deeply my research, but I invite you to read my written document that you can ask me after this presentation. So now I'll talk about three main topics, as I said. First of all, I'll talk about leadership, what is leadership and why it's so important, and what is leadership in the service industry. Also, I'll talk about service management, that is a concept created by Carl Albrecht, that he was one of the top entrepreneurs in Europe. Uh, Author of more than 20 books on professional achievement, organizational performance, and business strategy. Uh, Carl was a fantastic, a formidable leader, and for many years he was the richest person in Germany. Also, I will talk about competitiveness in the digital age. So let's start. Uh, I want to show you this quote from John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell is an American author, specialist on leadership. He has written many books that has sold millions of copies around the world and reaching the New York Times bestsellers several times. This quote says, "The single biggest way to impact an organization is to focus on leadership development. There is almost no limit to the potential of an organization that recruits good people, rises them up as leaders, and continually develops them." Um, with this quote, came to my mind some business magnates like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. They have something in common. They have a mindset and they are strong leaders. That's why their companies grow so fast. Some current problematics that we have in these times. Now, in this digital era, we have access to information as never before. So now we can ask if we want something, if we want some service, we can access to the information of all the companies that offer that service in our cell phones by internet. We have the tool, we have the possibility to reach all that information, to choose between different options, to choose what we want in a specific service. So that's why now the customer are more demanding. They want to obtain greater benefits for their investment. And that's obviously because now we have more information. We have the possibility to access to a lot of information. So now the competition is more intense and more aggressive. So now the customer has more options to choose, and that's why now they are less loyal and less conformist. So that's why it's so important, the leadership. This is my first of the main topics that I talked today. Leadership is worldwide known as the set of skills that a person has to adequately organize an environment, get the most out of it. So this is vital. A leader, through history, leadership exists since the human exists. I'll show you here with pictures. If you can see here up to the center, we see this group of cavemen. They follow a leader. Usually their leader was the person with the best skills to hand, right, to feed and protect his tribe. And that person was naturally uh, for followed from their partners, because they see someone that takes care of them and has the skill to do it. To the left, we have a Terry Fox. He was a Canadian athlete that, with an amputated leg due to cancer, he ran on an east to west across Canada to raise money and awareness for cancer research. Mel Gibson, at the right, representing William Wallace, another example, the liberator of Scotland. Um, Also, we have political leaders as the Trudeau's father and son. Both have been prime ministers of Canada. Um, and almost all politicians and the government has leadership skills over the masses. They want to bring us the best that they can to get the most out of the environment that we are. Okay, going deeply in the going to the service industry, because leadership is a concept that it crosses every aspect of their life. But going to the leadership in the service industry, the leader's influence is directly related to the ability to lead a group of followers towards the chosen future without the need of threats or impositions. It's just naturally follow. Uh, the members of the organizations should want to do what they do. Um, so companies that offer extraordinary services are those who harness the emotional and spiritual energy of leadership. Um, In-service leadership is represented by extraordinary competencies that stimulate the desire of the entire organization to offer services at an outstanding level. So this skill allows all the partners, all the collaborators, all the employees to be aligned with the goals of the organization. So that creates an attractive work vision and conditions that generate value for the client. That's the last goal, generate value for the client. So what I research, I can say that there are four fundamental competencies that people commit to leadership must develop. First, we have the service vision. Service leaders believe that the driving force of the organizations is service excellence. That's the most important thing. So if you want to compete in the respective market, you should have service excellence. So you have the leaders are convinced that excellence and quality are the only strategy to compete successfully. To believe in others, service-oriented leaders blindly believe in the intrinsic condition of people to achieve high self-realization, as we saw in the lessons in Tamwood. We see Maslow pyramid of needs, the hierarchy of needs, and there you can see every human being wants to get the most out of her itself, for himself. They want to get self-realization. And how can you get that? You can be helped by a leader that motivates you to work on to do your best job. So the leader has to believe in the others, in the partners. Three, loving the job. That's so important. Successful service-oriented leaders do what they want because they want what they do. So simple. Love for the company is the fuel for the high standards of service leaders. And four, we have integrity. These leaders have great ethical and moral principles. So they are integral professionals. They take a great a good importance to justice and equity, and they are trustful, uh, and they show that to the clients. That's important. So to cultivate the potential of service leadership requires promoting the right people, making them broaden their horizons, help the company, and be an example for their employees in what concerns leadership. So also it's necessary to not just only think as the employees as simple executors of the company's task. On the contrary, they must be made to participate in all the strategies that they are part of the team. That generates a sense of belonging that uh, inspires them to do a better job. Okay, now we can start with the second big concept that I want to show you today is service management. Uh, Service management is a concept created by this Carl Albrecht. That is the guy that I mentioned, the entrepreneur, the German entrepreneur, was so successful in his life. He said that service management is a total focus on the organization that makes the quality of the service received by the customer the number one driving force for the operation of a business. Uh, so this means that um, the organization has to focus on the driving force for the operation of the business, the customer. If the client doesn't exist, the organization doesn't exist. So that's the basis of this way to manage the service operations in the companies. Um, a little bit. So Albrecht says that from this point of view, the entire organization should operate as a large customer service department. All the departments should be aligned as a big customer service department. That the service management it cross all the departments. It's over all the departments. It is creating unity between all the departments. So they create a culture, making all the departments going to the same goal again. So this requires the interrelation of all the departments of the company, as I said. So the goal is to customer satisfaction. So, and that depends on the relationship with the employee, with the customer service provider, and the customer. That relationship is vital. And usually the people that have an interaction and directly interaction with the customer are the frontline employees. And that frontline employees are one of the most important pieces of this um, concept, because they are there when the moments of truth comes. So this is a new concept called moments of truth, or that it means the interaction between the client and the service providers, and that interaction becomes the key for the customer evaluation of satisfaction. So the customer reach the company. Uh, for example, I can ask some, I don't know, sushi by my cell phone. I can choose between different companies, and when I enter to the website, that's my first touch. I have an impression of my interaction with the company. But when I go personally to a restaurant, I have an interaction with the server, and that's my most important interaction, because he's offering me the service. So I think that is a really good example for a moment of truth. So constantly, uh, who really manage the moments of truth are the employees of the front line of the organization. Each employee uh, is a manager in some way, and has to be a leader in some way, and they control the results of the moment of truth, because they control their behavior. So they control their behavior towards the client. If the employee is unpleasant, hostile, cold, it's so different, because uh, the customer will get a perspective, will get a bad interaction. Uh, Maybe there then the customer, if if he had a bad experience, he don't want to come back, and he don't want to uh, buy that service again. On the contrary, if the frontline employee is kind, is pleasant, is gentle and friendly, that makes that the moment of truth shine. And the client tends to generalize this experience uh, for the image of the service. So if the frontline employee has a good job, a good attitude, it can make a big difference in the opinion that the customer has. Also, we have here this service triangle. Um, The framework under this service management philosophy is based on this triangle. It's pretty simple. I will explain it just in a couple of minutes. It has three edges or vertices of the triangle, and all these edges work around its heart. Its heart is the customer, again, the client. That's the most important thing for the company. So the customer is the heart of the model. Then we have strategy, we have systems, and we have people. What is each one? I'll explain you. Very simple. Strategy is kind of it's like the philosophy. Strategy is like the philosophy of the organization, and must be incorporated into the service strategy. Um, It includes the criteria for selecting employees, their training, their education, the technology that they use, um, the retribution system, etc. And all this strategy should be based on a well-chosen vision. Then we have the system. Uh, the system reflects the invisible parts for the client, relate to the rules and regulation and processes that form the basis for the organization. Uh, these are factors as communication, computer systems, audio or video systems, formats, among others. Uh, and also we have the people. The people includes all the staff of all levels commit to the same vision. So not just the frontline staff, also the secondary staff who maybe will not have contact with the client, also the managers that has to supervise the entire operation of the service. Okay, sorry for the change of the environment. I was having some technical issues. I was saying that employees must have two principal qualities. First, they must have competence for the service. They must have skills to do the job, knowledge to do their job, and also they must have inclination for services. That means that they have to have a real interest in the to provide a service to people, to customers. Also, the organization has some responsibilities. It is necessary for the company to identify the appropriate competencies of each employee according to the role they play and provide them with training and continuous development to achieve a behavior consistent with the company strategy. So an optimal service organization motivates, trains, and helps those personnel to stay alert and meet customer needs. An effective frontline staff should be able to focus their attention on the client, adapting to the client's situation. So they must develop empathy. In summary, the service triangle represents the three elements: strategy, people, and system, which revolve around the client in a creative interaction. So yeah, it's all the organization should formulate their strategy based on the needs and expectations of the client. That is the reason to be of the organization. Okay, now I want to show you a short 8 minutes interview that I make to a leadership expert. So I'll share this interview now as part of my final presentation.
Hi, I'm Álvaro Mella. I'm a student in the Hospitality Services and Tourism Diploma in Tamwood Careers, and today, as part of my final project called Leadership, a vital skill for customer service providers, I asked some questions to Sandy Hancock. She is a lawyer by profession. She has a lot of experience doing his job as a lawyer. Since 2013, she's the executive director of Athletics for Kids. That is a non-profit organization that helps children from low-income families to participate in organized sports. Also, she is a pretty active woman, active in sports her entire life. And she has a lot of experience leading groups because she is a volleyball coach and team manager since several years. So welcome, Sandy, and thank you for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Álvaro.
I have a couple of questions for you this morning. What is leadership for you, and what is its importance for working in groups?
Well, leadership is important, I think, in all parts of life. And being a good leader is something that you learn through experience with work at the beginning when you start to work, in team sports and in any sports, at school. And, you know, the ability to actually think about the better project goal rather than just your part in it is what being a leader is. Seeing the big picture and then being able to assist people to play their role in participating in a group goal. So I think leadership is a vital skill, and it seeps into all areas of our lives: work, play, sports, volunteering, anything. You need good leaders, and you need to know how to find them and how to work with them.
How do you influence your team players so that they follow your instructions?
I think that depends a little bit on the context. If I'm coaching a group of volleyball players, I encourage them to understand why we're doing things a certain way. I suppose that's really true in any context. Sharing the reason why you're instructing them to do something a certain way and leading them in a way that they can all contribute to the best of their ability, I think is first and best done when they understand why they're doing it and what the role is that they're playing in that group effort. So I think communication is a huge part of leadership. Yeah.
Related to that question, how do you try to get the most out of your partners or team players or your friends in your life?
I do think that a good leader is always going to be able to take a look at each individual person in a group, whatever the setting is, and get a sense of where their strengths are. So I think leadership is about assessing who is going to be able to take on what part and at what level. But I believe that all people should be given the opportunity to step into their own strengths and their own power. So assessing what their strengths and their own power is, I think, is the first thing. And then I think just to be encouraging and helpful if, and again, it very much depends on the circumstances. If it's 13-year-old girls on the volleyball court, it's obviously different than a group of adult volunteers at an event that we're doing for a fundraiser. But to be able to encourage people and to guide them when they need it, just quietly and gently, and perhaps in some circumstances it would be more one-on-one time, and others it would be a more general conversation so everyone knows what's going on and what's going to happen next.
What do you think about maintaining the organization's people aligned with its vision and strategy?
Sorry, what do I think about?
About maintaining the organization's people aligned with its vision and strategy, going to the same goal.
Well, I think that also, like, maintaining alignability also starts with a really good grounding in what you are looking for and what the vision of the organization or team is. So maintaining their alignability is really about starting from a place where they understand what the end goal is, and ensuring that if they have any questions about that and how it works within the whole organization, that they're armed with that information. I think maintaining an alignment is about checking in with people. It's about making sure that you are observing them, holding alignment to whatever values or efforts are being made by the whole group, and then making sure that they are understanding what is expected of them, and, you know, if things are changing, to make sure that they're aware of what those changes look like and how we're going to adjust to make sure that everyone is part of the plan for moving ahead. But I think the maintaining alignment of individual, you know, personnel in any organization, in a team or a workplace, or in a volunteer capacity at a particular event or an initiative, is, you know, making sure that you are allowing the information to flow through, and then checking in with people to make sure that they're still understanding where everyone is going and what the purpose is, and you know, talking to them about that.
Sandy, I want to ask you many questions, but unfortunately we just have time for one more.
Okay.
Do you consider it valuable to have people with leadership in your team, and why?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, leadership can happen at many levels in an organization. You can have, you know, somebody being a leader of one other person. You could have someone being a leader of a whole team of people. And you can have somebody being a leader of a whole organization. But I think everyone has the potential to be a leader, but it looks different for each person. And of course, the experience and the education, there's many things that would flow into why someone is a good leader or how much they can lead. But certainly looking for good leaders in an organization is absolutely necessary. I personally believe that, you know, people should be given the opportunity to lead in as big a way as possible. So I'll give you a quick example. When I coach volleyball, I don't have just one team captain. All of the teammates have an opportunity to be the captain for a tournament or a special game or something. So we don't always have the same leader, so that everyone gets a chance to be in that position, to feel what it's like to be more in charge and more a wider perspective than just one player or one worker or one volunteer. It's a very important perspective because it allows people to see the big picture. So I think leadership is something that should be encouraged in all people, and you know, we can't operate properly without people who are willing to step up and be leaders.
Thank you for your insights, Sandy.
Yes, you're very welcome. My pleasure.
With this, we end the interview. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hi, I'm Álvaro Mella. I'm a student in the Hospitality Services and Tourism Diploma in Tamwood careers, and
Okay, we are here again. We are here again. This final project presentation. So after that great interview with Sandy Hancock, I want to finally finish my final presentation with this concept, the competitiveness in the digital age. Let's go. So now we are in a globalized era with accelerated changes in different contexts like technology, information systems, the economy, the politics, and all these situations have allowed organizations to develop transformation process that lead them to be competitive and respond with quality products and services to satisfy the increasingly demanding customer. So consequently, core leadership involves developing skills, encouraging creativity and participation of all members of the company. So in such a way that the leader must be a visionary, an agent of change with a clear vision and mission, a team integrator, and above all, a good communicator. So, talking about leadership within an evolutionary process of change implies development and continuous improvement as mandatory aspects to remain competitive in the markets in this era all these changes too fast. So all the companies must adapt to these changes fast. They must develop a continuous improvement or their employees. So in addition to this, competitiveness is a measure of consumer satisfaction in a globalized market. So you can, the companies, the business can survive through a strategy for the medium and long term based on the following principles. I show you 12 principles that, or 10 principles that the companies must follow to keep being competitive. Uh, Innovative spirit and change management, internal strengthening of the organization and teamwork, quality service and add value, new world-class commitments and demands and business focus, knowledge of the environment, the market, and the customer's need, promotion of the intellectual and emotional capital of the organizations, continuous improvement process, knowledge and assessment of the organization's vital signs, management wisdom, and clear definition of the company's philosophy, a vision, a mission, and their values. So to finish this presentation, we have some final thoughts. In order to stay in an increasingly competitive and globalized market, service company must adapt to the new management trends that allows them not only to meet the needs and desires of consumers, but also exceed their expectations. Uh, Here is where service management philosophy becomes strong. Uh, so this is an integral process in which the strategy, the system, the people, and the customer take an active part to become the complete customer service experience. So if companies know how to handle the moments of truth that optimize the relationship with customers, they are seeking customers' loyalty. So what do you need to get to reach that? You need a strong leadership. A strong leadership is required to drive and maintain the organization personnel aligned with its vision, mission, and strategy. This consistency requires well-trained and capable human talents to master their functions and tasks. In addition to an organization with processes, policies, technology, and resources um, going to achieve results that always support its people. So the key to achieving extraordinary service lies in authentic leadership at all levels of the organization, based on motivation and communication in all its aspects. The main objective of the service management is to establish a constant improvement of the service, the creation of value for the client, and within the companies can expect substantial and sustainable competitive advantages. Thank you very much for watching this presentation. If you have any question, you can ask me. You can follow me in Instagram as Álvaro Mella, and also you can send me an email at alvaromella@gmail.com. And if you want to read my written research that is more deep in these topics, you can ask me by these ways, these channels. I'm pretty happy and grateful that I have the opportunity to share my job with you through this tool by my computer and by internet. Thank you.